Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my jungle. My name is Sam if you're new here, and welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please think about hitting that subscribe button and dinging that little bell so you don't miss a video whenever I upload. If you hear cute baby sounds in the background, that is my daughter, Callahan. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of plant maintenance. I have a few plants that I'm pretty sure are in dire need of water, but also I really want to set up this area behind me. For some of the plants that seem to continuously get spider mites over and over again, I'm mostly going to be focusing on things like my alocasia, my syngoniums, and possibly my calatheas. I'm not really sure what all is going to fit. This is where my Christmas tree was, and I do have some other plants over here, but I really just want to get those plants out of my plant room because that's where the majority of my plants live. Whenever my alocasias are constantly getting spider mite, it just kind of passes them down the line onto the rest of my plants. So I would much rather deal with spider mites on this smaller section of plants than on my entire plant room where the majority of my plants live. So I'm going to be doing that. I thought I could bring you guys along with me. This is just going to be kind of like an all over the place video. Plant maintenance, watering. We're going to look at a bunch of plants. We're going to move a bunch of plants. We're going to clean some plants. We're just going to take care of my plant babies. So if it sounds like something that you're interested in, then stick around and let's jump right on into it. P.S. guys, yes, I am in my jammies. This is a chilled out, laid back type video, so we're not dressing up. Okay, so here's my alocasia, which is very thirsty. This is my alocasia regal shields. Here's my alocasia zebrina. Here's my syngoniums that keep continuing to get spider mites. This is my sad and dying alocasia black velvet, which is actually putting off a new leaf, so I'm just noticing that. Very exciting. And then down here I have my alocasia frydek. We're going to be moving all of these plants over to that corner over there. Over here we have some of my calatheas, which also kind of like to get spider mites a lot, but I think I'm just going to leave them on this side of the room. I do believe I'm going to be moving this stand over there to put my alocasias on. Look at these beautiful leaves on my splendid. So pretty. Working on a new one. So yeah guys, I guess let's just go ahead and hop to it. Alright guys, I'm sorry if it's really backlit, but basically I'm just going to go ahead and start cleaning off this table that I'm going to be moving on the other side of my living room. So let's get to it. Look how pretty! Okay, that was easy enough. So now I'm just gonna move it over to where I'm gonna be moving the plants. Okay guys, now we are going to go ahead and clean off some of my plant leaves. The leaves that I'm going to be moving over into isolation. It's not really isolation, but my alocasia, things like that. So we are going to go ahead and clean their leaves with some neem oil, get them nice and shined up, and place them over in their new home. It looks like I am out of my pre-mixed neem oil, so I have this stuff. It says 7th generation cleaner, but it's actually been cleaned. This is what I keep my neem oil mixture in that I make myself. So I'm just going to be spraying this on the leaves and gently wiping them with this microfiber cloth, and then we're going to move the plants to their new home. Also, I'm probably going to make a mess. I'm going to get neem oil all over the counter, maybe a little bit in the floor. That's totally fine. I don't have any kids crawling around at the moment, so I will just clean it up whenever I'm done. Alright guys, this guy is done, so we're going to move on to my Alocasia zebrina. He is literally massive. Oh, and he just poked me in the eye. So it looks like this leaf is pretty well on its way out, so I think I'm going to go ahead and chop this one off. As you can see, kind of limp, kind of over it, so hey guys, this big giant fella is all done. Now I'm gonna grab my Alocasia fry deck. All of my Alocasias are clean except for my black velvet. I'm not going to do that one on camera. So I'm going to go ahead and move them all over to their new home, and then we'll see if there's room for anyone else to squeeze in over there as well. I may actually bring a couple plants that are already living over there, like perhaps my Growlights or my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. I may end up bringing them over into my plant room to make room for maybe some of my calatheas or syngoniums. We'll just have to see. Let's go play around with the area and see what we can get set up. Alright, I'm going to put the biggest in first. Ooh, excuse that light, but we love to see it. Look at that beautiful sunshine. Love to see it. I'm forgetting my drainage trays. Oops, we definitely need drainage trays. Oh my glob. I was kind of procrastinating on doing this. Well, not really procrastinating. I was just putting it off because, you know, I've been talking about moving now for a very long time. We had intentions of moving last spring, but that just didn't happen, honestly, because we just couldn't find a place suitable for us for the right price. And then we came very close to moving. Actually, just a couple months ago, we had paid part of the deposit for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-story house. And then my husband got unexpectedly laid off in November. So it was very unexpected, literally a week before we were supposed to move into the new house. So obviously the rent was a lot more expensive in the house than it is in this apartment. So we decided not to take the house, even though he had already paid a non-refundable deposit for the house. So we didn't get that money back, and we stayed here in the apartment. So now he is back to work, thank God, but it's just been kind of a rough couple months. We did not expect this to happen. But we are still moving here in just probably 2 months or so. We're actually looking to buy a home. It may take 6 months or so to actually get in the new home once we buy it. We've just completely outgrown this apartment, so we are still looking for a larger rental. Yeah, I just am tired of dealing with the spider mites, so I said, you know what, we're gonna be here at least another couple months, so I might as well go ahead and get these spider mite loving plants out of my plant room. So that is what we're doing. Let me go grab the rest of my Alocasias and go ahead and set them on this table and see what we have left to work with. Okay, so I think I have decided, oh my goodness, I'm gonna move my burley marks. I am gonna give you guys just kind of like an overview of this area over here to show you what we're working with. I have a couple different stands over here and a couple of my larger plants, but I have decided I'm not gonna do it on camera, but I am gonna clean this guy's leaves really well, and I'm going to move him over into my plant room because he doesn't really get spider mites often or anything like that. So I think he'll be fine in my plant room, and that will clear up some space for some of my syngoniums and possibly a couple calatheas. Let's get a quick little overview of this area. Normally my large Monstera adansonii sets here, but we have my Hoyas, or the majority of them live here anyway. lipstick plant, another Hoya, my very long string of bananas that needs something done with it really bad. And then I just moved my Early Marks variegated that was right here. And then we have this Syngonium. This is actually a piece of Rhaphidophora decursiva that is rooting and pushing off this new growth point. As we can see, I really desperately need to clean this stand off. This is a southern window, so it gets some really good light, but unfortunately the plant over here, they're not going to get much light without a grow light. So I do have this Bosley grow light here, which really helps these plants. But I also use it for my Hoyas whenever it's kind of dark and we're not really getting any sunlight. So I'm going to be moving, I believe, my second Bosley light over here and just kind of attaching it over here somewhere for these plants. I do see that these alocasias are getting some of this light though, so I didn't really realize that they would catch any of that sunlight from the window, but that's a good thing, so I'm not complaining. But this is where my Monstera deliciosa lives. He's really dusty, and I recently chopped him back because he was just putting off tons of teeny leaves. They were not pretty. That's just simply because lack of light. Despite what I've heard, I really truly believe that Monstera deliciosa, even the regular green form, really needs brighter light to really grow its best. Since I cut him back, he is shooting off tons of growth, but they're teeny little leaves, so I think he will really enjoy some grow light action as well. Here we have my beautiful Rhaphidophora decursiva living his best life. We have a Hoya obovata there. I love him. It's a little opie. And then we have some other crazy Hoyas, a couple Syngoniums. Here's my big boy Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. And I'm really thinking about moving him as well, but I'm just not sure yet. I'm not sure what I want to do with him. And maybe putting my calatheas here since they like spider mites so much, but we'll just have to see. But yeah, this is just kind of like a little overview of this area. Okay guys, let me just go ahead and kind of show you what I have done. It's not perfect, it's not going to be perfect. As I said, it's just kind of temporary until we get moved and I actually have more room to space out and spread out my plants and kind of give them their own little designated areas throughout my home. But I still have to get my grow light and move it over here and clamp it somewhere. I think I'm going to clamp it on this stand right here for these guys. But I guess let's just go ahead and look at what I've done. My daughter, Camilla, she is awake from her nap, so do look over the noise. But go back here, we have my largest alocasia. This is my Alocasia Sabrina, looking beautiful. And then my Alocasia Regal Shields, I'm going to have to stake him up because he's just completely flopped over. But I do have him kind of just sprawled out on top of everyone in the way, but it's fine. And then I did go ahead and clean the leaves of my beautiful little trio star because she's always kind of lived beside my alocasias and she's always been really prone to spider mites as well. So I moved her over here. Here's my little fry deck, which is the worst Like seriously the worst for spider mites. And then we have my black velvet here. I did go ahead and move my Calathea zebrina right here. The grow light's going to be over top of this Calathea basically, and my monstera, because I'm noticing those are the ones that are really going to need more light, the supplemented light. The monstera is still here, and then I moved my beautiful fasciata over here, and then I also moved some of my arrowheads, my syngoniums. This one was already here, but this one was not. Here's my pink splash that I've moved over, and then my Hoya burtonii is still over there, and my Rhaphidophora decursiva is still here. The only thing that kind of worries me is that these plants might bring spider mites over to my Hoyas, which I really don't want. But I think as long as I'm keeping an eye on them and, you know, keeping them treated and everything, that it should be fine. I'll also show you where I placed my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma and my philodendron burley marks that I took from the stand. I don't really have to worry as much about my entire plant room becoming completely infested whenever one of my alocasias gets spider mites. You know what I mean? So. Let me just show you guys what I have done and what the plant room looks like now and where I've put the plants that I took out of this area. So if you guys remember, I had that table sitting here and it was full of plants, and then I also had just a crap ton of plants behind the table lined up along this wall. This whole section right here was just covered in plants. So I had my big splendid just sitting right here in the middle of the floor in the way. It was a problem. Anyways, now the table's gone. A lot of these plants are gone. I had my Alocasia zebrina here and my regal shields here. So now that they're gone, I was able to move my big splendid back here, and I think it's perfect. I'm really happy how this turned out. And then I just have this little pedatum sitting right here. So much better. The syngoniums are gone, so I now have clean space here for some other plants, some new plants perhaps. And I just love how empty this area in general is. So I just have my begonia looking glass here, my Calathea warrock something, the velvet leaf Calathea, my big ZZ plant. I'm just kind of playing around with this plant being here. So I've set my burley marks on my big metal rack, and he fits good there, so it's fine. And if we move up here, I think this is probably temporary. I'm not really sure. I'm not loving the way it looks, but I have my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma moved up here, and I would like to, I don't know, I would kind of like to train him up the wall or something, maybe get a taller trellis. I'm really not sure. He is just dying to climb. I just really need to figure that out. Overall, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I still do have to move my Growlight over there. This is the one that I was thinking about moving over. And then I will just place this, which is 3 daylight LED bulbs. They work great as grow lights. My plants love these bulbs, but I don't really have any use for it just kind of standing here. These plants don't need it. So I'm thinking I'm either going to move this one over where my alocasias are, or move it over here and take the bosley. Not sure yet. Okay guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope it isn't too long. I feel like I got quite a lot of footage, but I just had some plant chores that I need to get done. I thought I'd bring y'all along with me. So thank you guys a ton for watching and hanging out with me. I will see y'all very soon in my next video. I love you guys. You're the best. Bye.